Well, it's been a few days since we tried cleaning that vent control solenoid on the EVAP system on my wife's 2010 Nissan Rogue, and it was fine for at least 4 days, and then she tells me the light's back on. Let's scan it. And what do we have? Our good old 456, a very small leak, and a 442, small leak. Notice we don't have the, what was it, the 446 last time? Let's always keep notes here. 448 vent control, so that code didn't come back. Again, it says it has a leak in the EVAP system, but I don't smell any gas, so I'm assuming it's on the fresh air side of the canister, and that vent control valve it just wasn't sealing properly, it seemed like last time. So we can still do our bidirectional checks. So let's see here, active test, vent control. Let's do our on-off. You can hear it clicks just fine, but it doesn't mean that mechanically it's sealing well, because there was a lot of crap in there and rust and all that junk. So I think it's the perfect opportunity to try out a new tool that I recently got. It is the OTC leak tamer. So I've only used it a couple times, but obviously it's brand new. It works great. It has like a flow control valve. It can't overpressurize your system. It has a UV dye in there, so if the leak is really small, even if you can't see the smoke, the dye will actually come out where the leak is, and you can shine a UV light on it and look through your yellow glasses and see if the leak is there that way. So my plan is to, very easy to access here, here's the purge solenoid. Here's where the vent, the EVAP gases come in. So I'm just gonna pop this hose clamp off, stick our leak tamer in there, and turn it on and see where the leak is. So let's get to it. Okay, so here's the leak tamer. Super easy to hook up. You got your battery connections, got your compressed air going in the back, green light is on, and our hose is plugged into the tank side, or the canister side of the EVAP system. So let's let her rip. Oh yeah, turn it on. There's a little flow ball, so it should be producing smoke. Yeah, that's quite a bit faster than the smoke machine. Fires up quick. Now here we should see smoke coming out of our vent solenoid, and there it is. And now we'll close it off. And sure enough, we still have smoke coming out of our vent solenoid, so it's not completely sealed. Now we'll wait for a minute and see what the flow rate is. See, the flow rate is still pretty high. Now we'll let the system pressurize. See, the flow meter is dropping. We'll see what it settles down to. So right now we have apparently a 0.04 inch leak. We'll inspect other areas like the gas cap here. You can use this, this comes in the kit. It's a variable light. You can either do LED, the blue light, or a laser pointer. So if it's dark in here, shut off the lights. I don't know if this camera will pick this up or not, but you can definitely see smoke pouring out of there. Now, just for kicks, I want to plug that off with something and see if our little flow ball goes to zero, and that will confirm that that is the only leak that we have. So let me find a suitable plug. Alright, so I stuffed a just piece of vacuum line and a one of those little cones that you get with, your gear oil. So that should plug that up. Let's see what our leak status is. The ball is slowly dropping. So it's definitely below 0.01 inch hole, but it's still, it's basically down to 0. So let this sit for a minute, and if that's the only problem, we have two options. A, buy a new vent solenoid, or B, take that one off, see if we can tear it apart, maybe like lap the valve in there so it seals better. I don't know. I mean, nothing to lose, right? And tear that one apart, and if worse comes to worse, I'll just buy a new one. So let's see what happens. So it's literally been less than a minute, and our flow ball is 0, pegged out, no flow. So that is confirmed our only leak in the EVAP system. So we have to mess with that vent solenoid. Now, you know, the paint, that's the one thing the paint can DIY version kind of lacks, is that flow meter. The way to get around that is, you know, you pressurize the system a little bit and let the pressure, you know, cut the flow of air and see if your pressure drops. But I mean, how cool is that? It's a freaking flow gauge, and it's just easy to use, but that's what you pay for. So I guess we can shut off our machine. Actually, automatic shut off. Let's see. It's a 5-minute timer. We definitely have no leaks, I don't think. Let's see. See, there's our flow gauge, so that works. Plug it back in, and it should drop to 0 very, very quickly. So you want to make sure that this is still on while watching your flow, because if this shuts off, then obviously you'll have no flow, and you might be kind of tricked into thinking that your system is perfectly sealed. So we'll let this run for another minute and get that vent solenoid torn off. So bam, it's settled, and our machine is still on. Now we can turn it off, unplug it. So you can unplug it here, release the pressure. Unplug this guy. There you go. Plug that back in. One-handed with no pliers. So let's get that vent solenoid off. So we're on the bench, got it cleaned off. Let's tear this little guy apart. Looks like a little plastic retainer on here with a couple clips, which should slide off. I mean, it is obviously the metal part is kind of swollen from the rust, but that shouldn't be too big of a deal. We just unclip right here, right there. Slide that guy off. Let me clean the mud off of here first, and then we'll undo these little metal tabs. There it is, nice and cleaned off. Now I want to undo these metal tabs and see if we can separate the actual electrical solenoid from its seat. I've got it clamped in the vise here, and if you get your pick just right, you can kind of spread these metal tabs apart. We just want just enough so that solenoid is freed. Let's see if we can get this guy started there. snap anything just yet. Nice and easy. These guys might be oh, no, here it comes. You can see the plastic part is getting a little loose. And well, let's see if I get this guy a little bit more. Might be able to lift this up. There we go. There we go. Boom. There she is. That's cool. There you go. So there's the seat. And it seems like that there's a rubber seal on this plunger. Okay. So then there's a spring. Then there's the plunger. And there's a rusty mess in here with the electrical part in here. We can clean this off. There's an O-ring. So let's see, what are the possible ways this can leak? So this was definitely leaking from the canister through the valve. So past this seal, it looks like, right out of the exit. So let's clean up all the parts and see if we can make this guy seal up again. So it looks like the real problem is just dirt on this rubber cap. You see I'm wiping it off with my finger. There's plenty of grit on there. So all we might have to do is just wipe off that rubber and the corresponding seat in this plastic piece, you know, in here. I mean, there's still a lot of junk in here, even though we cleaned it from the outside last time. We'll blow this out, get all this crap off of here. And supposedly, when this valve, when it's inside, and when it seats like it should, not, you know, you don't even have to push it down. If you blow in this hole, you should be able to seal very well since it's a rubber on plastic interface. So that's all we might have to do. I'm still going to get this guy on the wire wheel, clean off all this junk, and hopefully we can make this thing as good as new, because electrically it's fine. Oh man. So you can see there's still a stubborn chunk right here, trying to help it along. These things are not made for salty environments, are they? I mean, they do want you to buy new parts. So, but for this little thing, 150 bucks, that's a little steep. Alright, so this little plunger and the spring go into our plastic piece that lines it up. And just a final check, if I push my finger down and blow on it, that is an airtight seal, much better than we had before. So I have hopes that this will work just fine. And before putting our solenoid back together, I am going to give this a shot of fluid film on this metal surface just all the way around. Make sure that O-ring seals well and that we don't have any more rust corrosion going on. Put some on the plunger, make sure that's all happy. Can't hurt, right? Then our O-ring, zoom out a little bit. Again, clean all the junk off of it, because it had rust stuck to it from before. But I think we should be in good shape. So put that down like so. And finally, our new and improved plunger spring assembly. So this, and which way did it go? The connector is here, and so was the hose. So that kind of goes like that. Goes like that. And our O-ring should pop into that little groove if we did everything right. Like so. When was the last time you saw a vent solenoid rebuild video, huh? You know, in some countries, parts still aren't readily available, so this is the only way out sometimes, and people are creative, and they do what they gotta do to make the car work. I've even heard stories of people rebuilding engine computers. You know, here it's like, oh, okay, we call the bad computer, swap it out. There they can replace drivers, chips, everything, and make the car work again. So how about that? Zoom out. Boom. Beautiful. So let's put this on the car, activate it with the scanner, and make sure we can't blow through this orifice. We could even put the leak tamer back on and check for leaks, but I think we should be in good shape. So we have our vent solenoid hooked up. Have a little hose for a quick test here. Let's command it on off first, make sure it works. On, off. Sounds good. So let's command it on. Try to blow through it. Damn, didn't seal. What the heck? I'm going to cut this part out of the video. Back to the drawing board. To tell you the truth, I can't believe that didn't work. Why are we still having leakage when this thing is on? Either the plunger's not pushing the, the electrical solenoid isn't pushing the plunger against the seat hard enough, or that dirt in there just, I don't know, chewed up the plastic or something, but it's just not, it's not sealing. That sucks. So, you know me guys, I never give up. I just love to tinker with this stuff. You say, oh, just buy a new solenoid already. No. So, why the heck is it still leaking? Right here, I just have a battery. We can open and close it, blow through it. Pretty big leakage. Now, check out what's going on in here. Let me put it in the vise. So here's our solenoid. You can see down in there. I'm going to touch it on and off the battery. Perfect, right? It works. So let's turn it on and blow through our pipe here. Obviously it's not sealing. You know why? Because look at the plunger. It's not tight against the seat. It's not being pushed far enough by our electrical plunger. Bingo! Now why is that? Well, because of this rust jacking in between here and here, and this metal part and the plunger itself. That is our problem. So as it spreads out, that electrical, the metal plunger comes all the way out, but it's just not enough to push this plastic, piece with the rubber seal against the seat. Like that gap right there, I don't think it's supposed to be there. So let's take it apart again, clean all this crap out. If we need to, we can put a shim between, the metal plunger and that plastic piece. But I think we got some more cleaning to do. So further disassembly is required. Now we need to straighten these guys out. And there are two more center clips in here, which we can tap with a hammer a little bit. Like so. Let's see here. Over here. Beautiful. A little wiggle wiggle. It should come free. Now these things I want to squeeze straight with some vice grips. Don't worry, they'll bend back. I'm sure I'm going to a lot of trouble messing around with this bent solenoid, but what else are you going to do on a cold Sunday afternoon? Oh, there you go. That's that. Don't forget our little spring, and here's our plunger. So keep those guys clean. Set them aside. And here's our prize. That right there is the problem. See all the rust buildup? Get that O-ring off. We'll clean this up, and hopefully this thing will go back together a lot nicer. That is a lot better. We'll clean everything up, put it back together. Well, I might have been wrong once again. So this is cool. We can actually test it without putting it back all the way, all the way. So spring, plunger, cap. It should sit right there. And then here's our plunger. So we push it down all the way, and we can still blow through it because our plunger isn't seated all the way against the seat. Why is that? Where is this extra room coming from? I guess if I squeeze this plate against the plastic, you can see this distance right here is crucial from here to here. If we squeeze this together, it's getting better, but not quite there. You can see this plastic is a little bit deformed from the rust, so no matter how hard we squeeze this together, it's still not going to be quite as reliable. Like right there, I got it to seal if we pinch everything together really tight. But as soon as I release the pressure even a little bit, it doesn't seal. What are some solutions? Let's brainstorm. Well, one solution, quick solution that I can come up with is this edge right here. We can grind it off just a hair, so this plunger will go in just a little bit further and push on that little diaphragm, making a tighter seal against the plastic seat. So I think that might be the easiest solution. Just put this on the grinder just a little bit, take it off, we can bench test it, make sure everything works, then put it all back together. So let's be quantitative about this. We have some calipers, and this piece right here, the crucial distance is, this guy right here. Right now it is 30.45 millimeters. I want to take off, at least, I don't know, not half a millimeter, but let's see, 30.45, so let's go down to 30 even. That should do it. If we get it down to 30, so I'm going to lock my calipers on 30. And take it to the grind wheel. Oh, I don't know if it recorded that last segment, but we took this piece to the grind wheel, cut it down about 1/2 millimeter. Right now we're at 30.0. We started at 30.45. So let's put this plunger back through this way and see if it sticks out just a little bit further, enough to close our vent solenoid. So I'm going to squeeze this together. That's what I'm talking about. That is going to work. Nice. Let's put it back together. Last little bench test before we button her up. I'm going to send power. Oh, beautiful. So we just need to get these clips back, you know, squeeze that right there, and should be good to go. So we just hammer these little clips down. Oh man, it's gonna be a sweet fix. Very sweet fix. Hammer this guy down just a little bit more. That's not going anywhere. Final confirmation test. Love these AES wave adapters. I mean, they just come in handy all over the place. Tight. No more EVAP leaks. I'm gonna pop this back on the car, and should be good to go. Final confirmation of repair. We've got the leak tamer going full blast. We got smoke coming out of the vent solenoid. Let's close it off. On. Boom. That's it. Now we just gotta wait for our leak tamer to drop to 0. Come on, little ball. Keep dropping. The whole system is, you know, being pressurized. That's why we don't go to 0 instantly. Nice. We passed our large leak test, our small leak test, and we're dropping below the threshold for the very small leak. So let's give this a minute. Make sure we have absolutely no smoke coming out of our vent. Oh, there might be just a little tiny wisp, maybe. Maybe. This little pointer, I don't know what you set it at, but just kind of a little visual guide. Still dropping. It'll take a little while. We basically have nothing coming out. Maybe a tiny little bit. Well, it definitely won't trip the check engine light, let me tell you that. Yeah, we're basically down to 0 here. I am very happy with that. Confirmed fix. It took 3 tries, but still, that feeling of satisfaction of not going to the dealership and buying that part, that's priceless. So I appreciate you guys watching. That was a pretty neat little case study, even though it was a simple vent solenoid. You can do this on your own vehicle. The shops obviously won't do this for you, but you'll just have to pay for a dealer part or a doorman. Not sure how well that would work, but I'm confident that this thing now will last longer than the original. We have it all sprayed down with fluid film. It's not going anywhere until it gets clogged with dust again, at which point, you can clean it. So it was a mechanical problem, not an electrical problem. And that's it. So thanks for watching. And our ball just dropped to 0.00, so awesome. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.